So we're excited to learn from Ryan today. Ryan's going to talk about how to use real data for an interactive digital. Sorry. Ryan's going to talk about 3 ways to prepare your students to succeed with machine learning. Machine learning or AI is a buzzword right now. So we're excited to learn what Ryan's been doing, what his research has done, what he's implementing in his classes, and more importantly, how to direct that towards our students to have an engaging class. So, Ryan, without any further ado, let's turn the time over to you and jump right into your session.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. It is an absolute honor to be here. I am a big fan of everything that the good folks at Stukin are doing, what Stu and Trevor and his entire team are doing. I've had the privilege of being on both the student side of Stukin, as well as teaching their materials as well. I can tell you that for a content developer for your students, they're second to none. From a cost standpoint, from a value standpoint, from what you're teaching to your students, from all of their curriculum, whether you're using Mimic Pro to encourage your students to learn more about email marketing and search engine marketing, to the incredible stuff that they're doing on Mimic Social. Amanda Russell is going to be talking to you about influencer marketing right after my session. The things that Stuart and his team have done at Stukent regarding influencer marketing on Mimic Social is absolutely astounding. The coursework that they're putting out in multiple areas, consumer behavior, marketing principles. My goodness, if you haven't looked at Kenda Wilson's marketing principles book, please do that. It's second to none. And so it's an absolute honor to be able to be here to speak to you guys today at the Fall Digital Summit. And I'm excited to talk to you about a topic that I'm passionate about, which is machine learning. Before we get into that, tell you a little bit about myself. I have a Bachelor's of Business Administration from the University of Georgia, go Dogs, and a Master's in Digital Marketing from East Tennessee State University. While I was at the University of Georgia, one little fun fact about me, Matt Stafford once bought me a beer. And so unfortunately he left it at the Bud Light, and I don't get a cut of his future earnings. But I've taught multiple classes at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, both graduate level and undergraduate digital marketing, absolute passion of mine. I own a digital marketing agency myself, and so I love teaching digital to my students. And be honored to talk to any of you guys if I can be of any assistance in that area. Teach consumer behavior for undergraduate students, integrated marketing communications, and also teach marketing principles to our younger students at UTC as well. I've worked in the digital marketing industry for nearly a decade. I've worked on the brand side with incredible brands like Chattanooga Bakery. You know them a little bit better as the folks who make moon pies. I own my own digital marketing agency, and I'm a partner at a public relations firm called Lift Media Group here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I've also had the pleasure of working with incredible nonprofits like Hospice of Chattanooga, the Trust for Public Land, and multiple other nonprofits that I'm incredibly proud of their mission. But wanted to talk to you today about machine learning. It's had a massive impact on my industry in digital marketing. Anything from search engine marketing to Amazon marketing to the way that we're served certain organic content in our social media platforms. Machine learning, as Trevor mentioned, has also become somewhat of a buzzword, something that has a lot of misunderstanding about it from both the practitioner side and from folks who are considering getting into the digital marketing industry. Far too often what I hear from my students and from other folks is that the machines are going to take our jobs, and I've got to figure out something else to do. That's absolutely not true. What has happened, though, is that machine learning and artificial intelligence has changed the game with how we do our jobs. And to put our heads in the sand and pretend like this thing doesn't exist is is to do our clients a disservice. As professors, when we put our heads in the sand on something like this, it's doing our students a massive disservice as well. And so I want to talk to you really quick about what machine learning actually is and why machine learning needs our attention. So machine learning, the core insight of machine learning is, as Chris from the Brookings Institute says, that that the core insight of machine learning is that we recognize that intelligence hinges more likely on probability than rather than reason or logic, right? So when this probability happens, machines are able to look at our business challenges and identify reasonable predictions based on past behaviors. Those reasonable predictions produce a significant level of data, right? As that data is continued to be collected over numerous amounts of people inputting that data from those predictions, models are able to be created around that. We know what the most likely probability, depending on what's happened in the past, is going to be implemented. Based on those models that we create, we're able to apply those models into the upcoming scenario, right? And so as we apply those models, that just increases our likelihood that we're going to be able to input and identify new predictions, create more data, create new and additional models that are more and more intelligent. So this has been implemented by brands across the internet, specifically Google. Google's had an incredible way to implement machine learning and has really opened up the floodgates for implementers like you and me to be able to leverage this. 2 years ago, when Google was instituting voice search very early on in their voice search process, the error rate for voice search was 25%, right? 1 out of every 4 times that voice search happened, it was messing up. I mean, that's incredible. Right now, that error rate is down to 8%, right? A 17% swing in 2 years. That's all due to machine learning, right? Identifying what's the most likely search that's about to happen, and what are the errors that we've seen in the past, and how can we correct that on an ongoing basis? Right? Machine learning is making user experiences more reliable, and it's up to us as professors to train the next generation to say, how can we leverage these tools in the future? So some of these common misperceptions about machine learning, we all get WALL-E in our head when we think about machine learning. We think that that the machines are going to take over, or that humans are less in control. Right. So misconception number 1 about machine learning is that machines are smarter than humans. That is in a recent study from Popular Science, showed us that the best artificial neural networks that we have right now have hundreds of millions of weights that can be manipulated. Right, our brains have over 100 trillion weights that can be manipulated. Right, so we're at a 6-figure level of what human brains can accomplish, far beyond the most advanced artificial neural networks that exist. Right, what that means is that humans have a vast amount more capabilities in our brains than these the best machine learning capabilities right now. The misconception that I hear a significant amount is that artificial intelligence is dangerous at some level, that bad things are going to be happening because machines are able to learn and think in a way that mimics what humans could only do in the past. I think this quote from Eric Schmidt of Google is incredibly wise. If we knew that telephones were going to be able to be misused by evil people, would we have banned the telephone from being invented? Of course not. What we would do is find a way to police the misuse of that telephone. Right, so just because machine learning could be manipulated for negative purposes, to steal money, to manipulate markets, to manipulate search engine results, or hack to manipulate organic social networks. It doesn't mean that we don't implement machine learning. It simply means that we find a way to police that and correct it as it happens. And finally, that one day artificial intelligence will be able to perceive human emotions at such a high rate that we come to what's called technological singularity, or just singularity among a lot of audiences. Technological singularity is that concept that artificial intelligence at some point in the future is going to become irreversible and uncontrollable, and that the machines will take over, and that humans won't be able to put the toothpaste back in the tube, and that machines will be far smarter than we could ever implement. Right? The reality is that technological singularity is simply not going to happen. That's simply impossible. Machines are already way smarter than us when it comes to playing games within very tight boundaries. But the reality is, as Dr. Gary Marcus says of New York University, that they're nowhere near as smart as us when it comes to playing a computer game that a 12-year-old can play. Right? What Dr. Marcus means by this is that humans have a level of reason and a level of emotion and logic that machines will not be able to ever do. And so that's what I want to talk about with how we communicate about machine learning and artificial intelligence in my marketing classes, and what it means that we need to emphasize as professors in view of the reality of machine learning. I love what one of my friends, Kate Eisel, says about machine learning. Kate speaks to our classes on this subject. She tells my students to think about artificial intelligence and machine learning as a computer version of stereotyping. Just like we stereotype certain groups of people, or stereotype things that have happened in our past. Often those stereotypes are at least somewhat loosely based on fact. At some point, that stereotype happened for some reason. It doesn't mean it's necessarily fair, particularly when we're talking about negative stereotyping. The exception that Kate says, and what we emphasize in our classes at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, are those nuances and exceptions that happen. That's where machine learning is not going to be able to take over what humans are capable of. Those nuances and exceptions that we implement on the human side are what differentiate us from machine learning. All right, so why should we care as professors when great brands like Google and Amazon and Facebook and Twitter are working hard on machine learning? Why should we care? Particularly, the question I ask is, why should digital marketers care? Why should marketing professors care? Far too often, what we've done with artificial intelligence and machine learning is push this to our computer science departments. I don't think that's fair to the computer science folks, and I don't think it's fair to our business students. So why should digital marketing professors in particular care about machine learning? As Mark Cuban says, artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, whatever you want to call it, but if you don't understand it, you're going to become a dinosaur within just a few years. The reality is that companies have needs that our students can fill. This is an incredibly hot market for our students, particularly on the marketing side. You know, the machine learning career, machine learning scientists, machine learning technicians have an average current salary of nearly $150,000 a year. These jobs are growing at a rate of 344% in 2018. It's named as the top job by Indeed.com. There are jobs that our students need to fill with this, right? And this is not expected to slow down at any point, right? The global machine learning market is anticipated to grow from 1.4 billion only 2 years ago to 8.8 billion dollars by 2022, according to a recent report from Research and Markets. Right, these are careers of the future that marketing students, intelligent marketing students, need to fill. And so it's up to us as professors to train them for those positions and to adapt our course materials accordingly. One of the things that I get so excited about machine learning is that the career options that are available to our students here are so incredibly diverse. As it's my focus, oftentimes I focus on digital marketing significantly with my students simply because that's my background. Right? Machine learning can be implemented a significant amount in the digital marketing space. If you had the pleasure of attending ProfCon last year in Yellowstone, right, the team at Google really spent a significant amount of time talking to us and communicating with us as professors about changes that are happening in their algorithms as it pertains to machine learning, where the pressure is going to be taken off of marketers in the future about targeting, and the pressure is going to be placed on us to ensure that we're have the right strategy in place and that we have the right creative skills in place for our advertisements. And so if you've got marketing students, a knowledge of machine learning is going to be absolutely critical to be able to get the jobs in the future. Certainly on the software side, machine learning is incredibly important as well, right? Our ability as marketers to be able to leverage these tools are only as good as the tools themselves. And so we've got to ensure that we're producing computer science students who are understanding how to develop software that implements what we need on the marketing side effectively. On the market research side, oh my goodness. On the market research side, this is going to take a significant amount of burden off of us to understand how consumers behave more effectively in the past by implementing models to understand the most likely scenarios in all of our widgets. I mean, this is what spreadsheets were in the 1980s to that audience. Machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence is to marketers in 2019. And certainly on the tech side as well. Chattanooga is a hub for the logistics and trucking industry. And so machine learning is absolutely critical in the Chattanooga area because we're able to model what supply chains can look like and the most likely path for a load to be able to be delivered on time and most efficiently, and where drivers will be most available in the trucking and logistics and supply chain industries. It's of particular importance to us in Chattanooga, and it's going to become increasingly important to us as our logistics industry grows. And so we've got a special focus on supply chain at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and a significant amount of that pertains to machine learning. And finally, and perhaps the most important reason that I think that professors should care about machine learning is that it heightens and it increases the importance of the skills that we like to emphasize most to our students. This emphasis is much greater on strategy, while the tactics can now be left to the machines. As I mentioned, that the team of Google spent a significant amount of time talking to us about this at ProfCon in 2019, in the summer of 2019. What machines can't do is machines can't uncover intent, right? So machine learning is implemented to serve us the best videos and the best advertisements on Google, but what they can't do is discover what the intent of our action was in the first place. For example, one of the most recent, I get served ads on a most recent basis that are pigeonholing me and stereotyping me that I'm interested in particular industries. A significant amount of the time, it's in the retail market, apparel, things like that. The reality is that I've clicked on those ads a lot of times because I'm a marketing professor and I'm studying what effective Facebook ads look like. Whereas this company, this organization is thinking that I am actually interested in purchasing the product from them. I have no idea what my intent was for following a path that mimicked what one of their target customers would actually look like. And so while the machines have told them, what these artificial neural networks have told them, that I'm a strong likelihood to make a sale, the emphasis needs to be on strategy from those brand side to understand that I'm not their target market. That based on my activities following my actions of studying their advertisement, that they need to refocus what their actual strategy is. Right. So how we should prepare our students to succeed with machine learning. How do we help them prepare for these jobs of both the current and the future? I have 3 ways that I want to share with you that we can ensure that our students are prepared for this market. First of all is to ensure that you're teaching your students proper marketing strategy skills. If we start out with the wrong assumptions about our brand, if we start out down the wrong path, all machine learning is going to help us do is lead us down the wrong path really, really well. They're going to do, what machine learning will make us do is simply to target people like me, the scenario that I mentioned just a few seconds ago. It's going to target people like me really, really well. For example, cart abandons. Right as you see with the chart on the right-hand side of your screen right now, oftentimes we see when we visited Amazon or a retail e-commerce website that we're retargeted with ads. Right, but the reality is that we might have abandoned our cart on that website for a significant number of reasons. Perhaps the shipping costs were too high. Perhaps we were simply browsing, right? Perhaps we were right. What machine learning won't tell that website is intent. Right? What was the consumer's intent for adding that item to the cart? That all backs up onto strategy. Right? What you need to do in order to emphasize that level of marketing strategy is particularly to update your market research and consumer behavior courses. I think Stukin has done an incredible job of this. They didn't ask me to make this commercial, by the way, for them, but just as Trevor said that the 80% of you guys he mentioned right before I came online are new to Stukin. Check out their market research materials. Check out their consumer behavior materials. And I would encourage you to check out their media planning textbook as well. Ensure that your students know how to correctly research, create a digital marketing strategy, deploy that digital marketing strategy, and then optimize it as these models are being created through machine learning. I personally, as you see on here, I personally enjoy teaching the SOSTAC method with developing digital marketing strategies with my students. Digital marketing strategies are kind of like noses. Everybody's got one. They all look a little bit different. The methodology of how it looks and how you teach can be very disparate. I simply leverage the SOSTAC method as a baseline for teaching my students simply because the steps to implementation, those 5 steps or 6 steps are very clear. We start with a situation analysis to where we listen to the brand itself, the environment in which they are entering, and then the competitors as well. Next, we move on to what are the objectives of our marketing strategy? What are we hoping that our marketing strategy is seeking to accomplish? If we seek to accomplish absolutely everything with our marketing strategy, then we can be going in disparate directions and not really achieve what we're seeking to do. We teach we teach them how to go through actually creating the strategy itself. What is our unique service or unique sales proposition with developing our strategy? Then we move on to tactics and actions, right? Tactics where we're saying, which areas of marketing are we going to seek to leverage? What does our social media strategy need to look like? Do we need to implement a paid search engine marketing strategy? What are the goals of our website need to be? Moving on to the actions, let's drill down on that a little bit Who are going to be the specific people who implement that? What are the resources and budgets that we need on the team to be able to effectively accomplish those tactics that we laid out? And then finally, control, right? How do we revisit this? How do we measure? If we can't measure it, we can't manage it. If we can't manage something, we can't scale it. I often tell my students the story about when Forrest Gump played for the University of Alabama, right? The humorous scene where the first time that Forrest plays for them, he runs through the end zone and he just keeps on running. Right? While that's a hilarious scene in a movie, this would be incredibly dangerous, for a football team to happen because Forrest was only able to score one touchdown that day because they didn't effectively teach him how to measure his success. When we measure success effectively, crossing the goal line, we're able to develop a plan for Forrest to score that touchdown multiple times, right? And the movie Forrest Gump's scenario was people holding up signs that said "stop" for him. So ensuring that we have proper measurement is the final step in developing that strong marketing strategy. Right, when we develop those strong marketing strategies in place, we're able to effectively leverage what machine learning and artificial intelligence can provide us. Next, I'd encourage you to develop partnerships on campus and off campus. On campus, you need to be best friends with your computer science department. As marketers, we need technicians to have a better understanding of the marketing side of these, the implementation capabilities of the hard work that they're doing on the engineering side. Strategists on the marketing side, if we don't have an appreciation for how the sausage gets made, how machine learning actually works in the back end, we won't fully be able to leverage their capabilities in order to do this. I think it's even valuable for marketers to be able to study the psychological, the philosophical, and the ethical roles of machine learning. That's what we've done in a very strong way at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Our honors department has an incredible seminar. It's our honors class. It's a 3650, I believe it is, where our students examine the philosophical, ethical, and religious thought processes that can be affected by artificial intelligence. And so leveraging professors from across the campus to be able to collaborate on this wide encompassing topic. Right, next, it's important to develop those partnerships off campus. One of the ones that we're most proud of in the Chattanooga is a company called Bellhops. Bellhops is a Chattanooga-based company that provides on-demand moving services. Think of them as the Uber of moving. You need to move from a house, you sign up for this and the service, and a significant amount of their workforce, being college students, will show up at your doorstep and help you with that moving process. Our students love it because they're able to set their own schedules, place their own availabilities with a company ahead of time into their app. But what that does is because they're getting data that's implemented into their input into their company from both the labor side of things, of the availability of students, but they're also getting data implemented from the consumer side of things. This company is ripe to leverage machine learning. What Bellhops does at that point is leverage machine learning to take the data from both the bellhops who are doing the moving and their clients to provide optimal scenarios to match the proper mover with the proper job almost instantaneously. What Bellhops is exploring right now and they're beginning to leverage is how can we use machine learning to not only match the proper bellhops with the proper job, but how can we leverage machine learning to properly estimate the cost of the jobs that we're doing? Right? How can we speed up our efficiency by estimating move times through image analysis of a prospective consumer's home, perhaps some video analysis to leverage what they can learn on that side, and machine learning is helping them do that. The team at Bellhops has been incredibly open because they want what we have, labor, and we want what they have, which is real world scenarios of how they've implemented machine learning. A significant number of UTC students have been hired on the marketing and software side at Bellhops because of these great partnerships that we've been able to have with them. And then finally, what I would tell you is to ensure that you're leveraging some great services that are available to you. I want to tell you quickly about 3 of them that you could leverage in your marketing class. The reason I want to tell you about these 3 is that they're free. Amazon Web Services, first of all. In addition to numerous amounts of videos that they have disparately across AWS, they actually offer 3 separate curricula specifically on machine learning as it pertains to Amazon-based marketing. They even offer a specialty certification in machine learning. You can certainly search for that yourself, but I assume that the Stuka team is going to provide my slides for you. I wanted to make sure to provide hyperlinks specifically to that machine learning certification. If your students are questioning how this can be implemented, how machine learning can be implemented on the marketing side, I would incentivize them to take this certification with some extra credit. That's what we do in a lot of my marketing classes. Next, as I shared earlier, Google has implemented a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities. Their AI educational courses are very strong, a lot of great curriculum. One of the ones that I'm most passionate about that Google does is their crash course in machine learning, though. This is a machine learning course that can be consumed incredibly quickly. And so it can be easily implemented for college students. It doesn't speak over their level, but it's a great thing for them to be able to take this crash course. It's a great resume item for them if they're entering into a tech environment where machine learning might be something that they need to have some type of a knowledge of. And then finally, hopefully you've leveraged some Coursera in your past in some of your classrooms. Stanford has a fantastic, one of the highest rated Coursera courses available. It's got a 4.9 out of 5-star rating on Coursera on machine learning. It's offered regularly if you would like to take it on their specific schedule. This is a free course that Coursera offers. Not all of their courses are free, but this one is free. Or you can take it on your own on your own time schedule. We've had a lot of success with both this course as well as some of the neuromarketing courses that the University of Copenhagen offers through Coursera as well. So I'd encourage you to leverage these certifications. I'd encourage you to leverage the resources that are available to you from some of these outside organizations, outside materials. Guys, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding my marketing curriculum or about how we leverage machine learning at UTC.
Great. Hey, Ryan, thank you so much. So
Absolutely.
Kind of a more, I guess, direct question to you, putting you on the spot here from Tiffany. Marketing is new to our school at Whitwell. I've had a hard time finding a speaker to talk with students. You are less than an hour away. Would you be interested in talking to the marketing classes? Let me know. We currently have intro and marketing and marketing and management 1 and 2.
Absolutely. Trevor, would you mind sharing my information with them? I actually have one of your graduates in my integrated marketing communications class.
Cool.
Right now. Yeah, Whitwell. If you're from our area, by the way, Trevor, it's Whitwell, not Whitwell. So we'll work on your Southern here soon. Yes, I'd be honored to speak to you.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, we'll get you guys connected. More questions. So, what advice do you have for professors with little experience with machine learning? Specifically, that's a very broad question, but specifically, where would you start if you're brand new? Where would you start?
First thing I would do is I would take the crash course of machine learning from Google. You'd be surprised at how much you can learn. Google does an incredibly effective job because they know that the better you understand machine learning, the more likely you're going to be able to leverage the tools that they had to offer. And so that's the very first place I would start, is that crash course in machine learning from Google. The next thing I would do is, after you do that, is I would walk across campus to your computer science department, find out who's working on artificial intelligence. If you have a strong computer science department, and take them out to coffee and have a conversation and communicate with them how brands like Amazon, brands like Google, brands like Facebook are implementing machine learning, and ask them to describe it to you so that they can have a better understanding of its implementations on the marketing side, and you can understand how the darn thing actually works.
Great. Another thing I would add, and this is just kind of in general, with technology and marketing, find brands that are doing marketing really well. So a company that I like to follow is Allbirds. They're a shoe company made out of like trees and wool, and like do everything. Subscribe to their email newsletter, visit pages on their website so that you can get pixeled by them. Because once you get pixeled, you're going to see their strategy as far as what they're doing to get you back and get you engaged. And then do some things like add some stuff to your cart, your shopping cart, and then leave. And then you get an idea of kind of what their abandoned cart sequences look like. Stuff like that, super easy to do. It happens automatically. You don't have to do anything, but you're just going to watch and be a spectator as far as what good brands are doing with some of the technology that exists now.
And what I would tell you as well, because you're exactly right. I mean, that's what's happening to me on it. I completely agree. And what I would tell you is put your strategy hat on when you're doing this, and understand, right, that a significant amount of what is happening because of machine learning. Ask yourself, did they set down the correct path, or how intelligent was their strategy in place? Machines can help take care of those tactical things that we used to have to create new ads of at every sequence. But what they can't do is measure intent. They can't measure the emotions that happen behind some of the things that consumers are doing. So ask yourself those strategic questions as you're doing exactly you just said. Great point.
Great. Do you have any digital marketing strategy projects around this that you use in your class, maybe stuff that you haven't necessarily referenced today?
Yeah, absolutely. We covered this a little bit at ProfCon last year as well, and I'd be more than happy to share my digital marketing presentation project with absolutely anyone. But what goes into that digital marketing strategy project that we do is having an understanding of what machine learning is, so that they can properly implement a Facebook advertising campaign and a paid search engine marketing campaign. Absolutely. It's imperative to it.
Great. For just down in your area, are you aware of any programs or any of these programs being taught at the secondary level or in dual credit collaboration with post-secondary? Are you aware?
I'm not aware of any in our area, but I also know that in our area, like I said, we're a hotbed for the logistics industry right now. And so a significant amount of our industries in the Chattanooga area, FreightWaves is an incredibly fast-growing logistics company. Bellhops, as well as a numerous amount of our trucking companies, have been very open about their artificial intelligence and machine learning paths, and so they've been very open to helping our students because they need what we have. And so I would tell you to leverage those business innovation district organizations, chambers of commerce. If you're at either the primary or secondary level, you've got what they want, which is young labor, talented labor.
Yeah, great. Awesome. I don't see any other questions in the queue, and we're actually just right on time here. So nicely done. Ryan, thank you. I just wanted to acknowledge Ryan, actually the Student Professor of the Month this month for November. So congratulations, Ryan. Thank you for all that you do down there at Chattanooga and helping others teach the wonderful world of digital marketing. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Go Mocs.
Yes.